Hi, comic book fans, and welcome to another suddenlycomics.com video. We've got an interesting show this week. Now, I encourage you to go across to Allan's channel and watch his show because we are talking about defining a new age of comics, because we think 30 years of the modern age is far too long. So the modern age has been going since 1991, and it's now in we're now in 31 years. So Allan has come up with the phrase of the plastic age to describe the age of comics, probably between 1991 and I think we're going to see some of the comics that Allan believes starts the plastic age in a minute, running through to the end of the 90s probably. So we're talking about that age of comics. We had a full discussion on Allan's channel, and we're now going to talk about the start of the plastic age. So Allan, what is this comic you think defines the start of the plastic age?
It's probably the most, like, one of the things that we kind of touched on the other video, like in the previous part, was that I saw it as a changing of the guard. That, you know, in a way, maybe it's why people call it the modern age, because it was that we're now going to modernize something. We're gonna make it new and better and improved, and that's what they did with X-Men. And they basically said we're gonna now do a new version of X-Men, and we're gonna stop the numbering system. We're gonna start with a new numbering system and call it XMen Number 1. No more Uncanny X-Men. It's now XMen Number 1. And I brought, somewhere is my copy of XMen Number 1. Where is it? Oh yeah, here it is. Here it is. XMen Number 1 in all its glory. So this is a very rare comic. They only produced 5 million of them.
Oh, it's 8 million.
Oh, it's 8 million. See, I'm not even right about that. So there was 4 different covers.
4 different covers, yeah, roughly 2 million.
And I have like, I think I have 3 or 4 of them. I think I either have the whole set or I'm missing 1 cover. Mine's actually signed by, I think I'm not sure who signed it, but somebody signed it. I think it's Jim Lee or one of those guys. Nobody important. But this comic to me defined the beginning of the plastic age, because it's really the comic that had that massive sale of comics. And you know, that's really why I define it as the plastic age, because we're dealing with huge print runs, and the value of the comics is really, you know, it's went from being like pretty rare things to being pretty common and well-preserved things. You looked up, when did X-Men Number 1 come out?
Came out September 91.
September 91.
The date on it was September 91, which usually means it's,
yeah. So usually maybe August.
Yeah.
You know. So to me, that's the beginning of the plastic age. This book kind of launched it, you know, a new X-Men and the plastic age with it. And it also,
I've got a comic that's slightly before. I think it's in the same ballpark.
Okay.
And I
think I know which one.
And I think and I'm showing this because it's got a lot of 90s things about it. It's before X-Men 1, but only a few months. And it's a Deathlock one.
Oh yeah.
So this is all silvery. This is all silver foil, you know, glam rock, you know, Deathlock. And that's a few months before X-Men 1, but I think X-Men 1 is a better example because of the huge print run. You know,
that Deathlock didn't have that. It was big, I believe, but not that big.
Not like the X-Men 1. No.
I think it's more like 500,000, probably.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. But but that book that you just showed, if you could create a case study of what are the 90s things, it's huge print run.
Yeah.
And gimmick.
Yeah.
Would be the 2 big things. And what are gimmicks? Chrome, foil, die cut, like just, you know, anything that can make it blingy, like holograms. I don't know. There's just so many different things. So Do you have more examples?
I've got some other examples here. Exactly what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Sabretooth, number one.
I was going to pull that comic. I was going to bring that comic because it's such a good example.
This is 1993, but what we've got here is a die cut cover.
Die cut.
Really nice comic. I really love it.
I love it. I love it. I actually love that.
It was up recently at a Whatnot auction for about $5.
I picked it up in the 90s.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah.
But it's not expensive, of course, because there's a load of them. So that's the sort of die cut. Now, the other thing they did, we haven't mentioned this so far, another classic of the 80s, is because they realized that they were selling to collectors. Collectors like to have their comics in plastic bags. So
Polybag.
Polybags. So polybags are another feature of the plastic age. And of course, I would say, since it's going to be called, we're calling it the plastic age, really, the polybag is the
kind of
plastic.
Yeah. I mean, it's plastic in plastic.
Yeah. And what's even better for the publishers here is people don't have to read the comic because you buy it and it stays in the bag and you never read it.
Well, actually, there was a bit more to it than that. It's even better because what generally will happen is you have even the reader of the comic will be like, oh, if I open the polybag, I'm going to kill the value. There's actually a nice Ren and Stimpy that they said, like, if you open up the polybag, there's underneath it hides like something like some secret message. And it says like, you killed the value. That's what it says, the message, once you open the polybag. So what people would do is they'd literally buy 2 copies. One that you would open up and read, and then the other would be like something you would lock away and have preserved.
So, the publishers don't whammy, I've sold 2 of the same thing. And, the other, and this one is got another thing from the 90s, which was classic. It's got a free trading card in it.
Now, the funny thing is there was a new bubble that was actually created because of that. There was the trading card bubble that just happened, was it a year or 2 ago?
A year ago, yeah.
Yeah, where people are going back, they're picking up all the X-Forces #1s because X-Force #1 came in a polybag.
Yeah.
And you could get like Deadpool's trading card, or you could get some like,
the Deadpool.
And then they were,
yeah.
And then they were, if you get a Gem Mint one, well, that's like a $7,000, $7 million, whatever it is, card, because it's, super rare. But then people were like, well, I have like 100 copies of that. that was a new bubble that burst, and it was kind of funny.
The reason it was rare is because it's all the only value of these trading cards are fair graded. So of course nobody grading a free Deadpool card from an XMen 1, If there's a billion of them. Oh, it was X-Force 1 actually. It was in
X-Force, yeah.
And there's was million of them. It's just that nobody's bothered grading. Yeah. And then, so of course, everybody then sent their Deadpool cards into the grading company.
Mm-hmm.
And the price is now, back down at $5 or whatever it is.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of the funny. That's something we could talk in a later video about the modern kind of these modern bubbles that we create, where a comic gets hot, everybody sends it off to CGC.
It crashes,
and then it goes back down again. But during the 90s, we didn't have the grading companies. No. There was no grading companies.
No.
So it was a very different mindset. Like in a way, the grading companies kind of created something different, like a very different mindset than what you would do in the 90s. Because in the 90s, you had to be really, really careful with your books. You didn't have the plastic case to keep it in. So you'd be like, okay, I'm going to board it, I'm going to bag it, I'm going to put it, in the like climate controlled environment somewhere, and like, really protect it. So I think that was kind of one of the funny things in the 90s, that people were like really paranoid, about their comics, like getting slight damage. Don't breathe on it. Don't breathe on it. Okay. But yeah, so I wanted to show some more. I'm going to show another. I as I said, I went very heavily into Malibu comics, and one of the like kind of the most famous Malibu comics was Prime.
Yes.
It was basically their version of Captain Marvel, I would say, like, or the original Captain Shazam, if you're a modern age person. So it's this boy who basically he gets like the power to become big and strong. Sort of that same idea. My copy got destroyed by my wife. My wife poured water all over my comics by accident. There was a flood.
Revenge for something, Alan.
It was a revenge, but I had like 2 long boxes filled with like Malibu comics and just various stuff like House of Secrets and stuff like that. So it just got totally destroyed because my wife was cooking something up above it, and the water just poured down onto my comics. Oh. It was kind of sad. So my dollar bin comics are now worth 50-cent bin. So
Alan, it could have been worse. If it was only your Malibu comics that were destroyed, you didn't lose very much.
It was only my Malibu ones.
None of them were worth anything. They never were worth anything. They never will be worth anything.
I miss them. I love this one. This is such a great comic. This is such a great comic. Actually, it's by Boris. So that's really great artist. Okay. So that's one. Do you have any like alternative ones?
I've got some Malibus. Hang on a minute. Let me just find me Malibu comics. I think I've got a here we go. Yeah, there's some really random ones here, Alan. So I have got a this is really just sort of complete. This is Malibu doing
the sludge,
doing Man Thing and Swamp Thing. How unoriginal can you get? Anyway, there we have Sludge number 1, and this is exactly what these other publishers did. They jumped on the bandwagon, and if you issued a number 1, somebody would buy it. Some idiot like me would go out and buy Sludge number 1. Now this is approaching 30 years old. Nobody has ever slabbed one, so there's none on the census.
So it's rare. What you're saying is it's really, really rare.
Well, it's at the point where nobody has bothered slabbing one because no modern comic collector has ever heard of Sludge.
I heard of Sludge. I have Sludge.
You probably you've got a Sludge one.
I got the complete run of Sludge.
Oh, you got the complete Sludge run. No, I didn't go that far. What else? Oh, right. This is actually an earlier map. That was, I think, 95. This is from 92, and this is another sort of 90s thing. We got a split page.
Oh, that was really popular too. That was considered really cool.
Really cool, yeah. So this pulls back, and you've got a sort of cover and a half sort of thing. And this is Protectors, first color issue, all-star origin issue from Malibu Comics.
There's a bit of irony with that one because it's the comic's called Protectors, and that strip along the side, it was designed to protect the spine.
Oh, right. Okay. Is that what it's doing?
That's why they did it. That's why they did it. And so, you get that, and it would be like this extra little feature, and is really catering to those collectors.
Yeah. I mean, like Alan, I bought a number of these because I was one of the target mugs who would buy everything that had a number 1 written on it. So here we go again. Ultraverse Origins number 1. I've got a whole box of these in the attic. I just pulled a few out. This is a special 99-cent Origins issue. Yeah.
Oh man,
you gotta love the lenses.
I'll show you some of the ones I brought. I brought some Valiant as well. I think
Valiant.
So I want to show my Ninjak number 1.
Oh,
because this comic really typifies, like, I'm trying to mesmerize you with the glare. So it's like,
it's really good though, isn't it? I mean, I do like it.
Yeah. I love this comic.
Yeah.
Don't read it. It'll destroy your brain if you try to read it, because Yeah, just look at the cover, because I actually tried to read this one. I was like, what the hell is going on? It's so confusing. Doesn't make any sense. There's action out of nowhere for no reason. It's just a mess. It's not a great story, but it has a
it's lovely.
cool cover. It has a cool cover. That's about all that's going for it. It's Ninjak.
Well, you know that.
I actually heard that they're going to make something with this new.
Oh, they right. Okay, well, look, I think we've got enough. We've got enough going here, so we're going to do some more Plastic Age next week. As I said, go and check out Alan's channel, because there's a really interesting discussion about how on earth we managed to get the bubble that was the Plastic Age. Maybe next time as well. Next week we will talk about what happened as a result of the Plastic Age, because one of the biggest publishers in the world, comic publishers in the world, filed for bankruptcy.
Yeah, amazingly so.
So I'll see you next week, Alan.